nightfall in the sanctuary. The cathedral stands majestic against the setting sun, its spires reaching up to pierce the dusky sky. As if striving to touch the heavens, I arrive for my night shift, feeling winter's chill gnawing at my fingertips. The cold seems to seep through even the thickness of my gloves as I grip the handle of the wrought iron gate. It creaks open with a familiar groan, a sound that resonates in the quiet street, underscoring the solitude of my entrance. Inside the cathedral is a world of shadows and soft echoes, a serene yet solemn fortress that guards its secrets well. My mop bucket clatters across the worn stone floor, the sound reverberating amidst the pews that sit patiently empty, each one a silent witness to countless whispered prayers and unspoken hopes. As I work, I occasionally paused to admire the play of orange light through the stained glass windows, which are now illuminated by the final rays of the setting sun. The glass, meticulously crafted, tells stories of faith, sacrifice, and redemption, painting these sacred narratives across the silent walls in hues that dance with the fading daylight. This place is timeless, a repository of countless souls' yearnings, yet every corner feels unfamiliar to me, a stranger in its sacredness. Despite the routine of my task, the organ hums gently to life, a low reverent note that fills the space with an anticipatory hush, a sound warming up for tomorrow's worship, a cycle as eternal as the rising sun. Each night the same anxious thought visits me. Despite the hours spent here, I still feel like an outsider to its holy embrace, like someone perpetually on the threshold of something beautiful yet distant. Backseat crisis prayer beneath the rose window. I kneel beneath the great rose window, an architectural marvel whose brilliance now fades to monochrome under the encroaching night. Its intricate designs, once vibrant with color, are veiled in twilight, creating an ethereal tapestry that seems to contain all of history's echoes. My breath is visible in the cool air, a fleeting cloud of warmth that vanishes as I whisper my distress. Lord of mercy, I feel so alone in your house. How do I belong where my heart feels misplaced? The silence that follows is not empty, it is dense with an unspoken presence, as though the ancient stones themselves hold their breath, listening intently. My prayer hangs in the air like a fragile thread, and I am left to contend with the echo of mop water and the faint rustle of unseen robes, a sound that often makes me wonder if I'm truly alone. I wait heart tight with expectation, hoping to feel a shift, a sign, something, anything to ease the gnawing sense of being adrift in a sea of sanctity. Turning in the stillness, the night deepens, wrapping the cathedral in a deeper silence. And I find myself drawn irresistibly to the altar, where a single flickering flame of a devotional candle holds its solitary vigil. Its light is warm against the encroaching dark, casting gentle dancing shadows that seem to leap across the altar's polished surface. Here I kneel once more, but this time the noise within me begins to quiet down. Shepherd of my soul, I breathe into the stillness. Guide me from the shadows into your light. Teach me to listen for your voice in my restless heart. In that moment of surrender, as if responding to a silent call, a warmth unfurls within me, soft as spring's breath upon winter's lingering chill. It's a gentle urging, an invitation to carry a quiet prayer with me through each action, to weave it into the rhythm of my duties, into each sweep of the mop and every moment of stillness. This is prayer transformed, not as a separate act, but as a seamless extension of my very being. The echo of transformation as I rise from my kneeling place, the sense of isolation ebbs. Like the retreating tide, its grip on my heart, loosening at last. My breath of heaven. Acti, shadows of doubt. The seminary corridors felt like rivers of silence, stretching into eternity with a hushed reverence. The thick tapestries absorbing my footfalls as though the very walls conspired to keep my presence a secret. Dust motes swirled in the last light of the setting sun, casting long shadows through stained glass windows, turning the hallway into a kaleidoscope of vivid orange and deep blues. My heart felt like a tangled mess akin to the trees outside, whipped by a restless wind. Doubts crowded my mind, their presence insistent and unyielding, as if the very air I breathed was tainted with uncertainty. Father Michael, the old priest, sat in calm repose on the chapel's oak bench, his eyes half open. The very picture of serene contemplation, his presence was as familiar and enduring as the flickering lamp above the tabernacle, a steady flame, barely wavering, yet undeniably alive. Uncertain if my voice was a disruption or a plea, he opened his eyes but remained silent, inviting me to speak or to fall into the silence with him. His calm demeanor an unspoken assurance that this sacred space held room for both. I slumped beside him, the weight of my doubts pressing heavily on my shoulders. Does God really hear us? Or am I just talking into the wind? He lifted a wrinkled hand, more eloquent in its silence than any words could ever be, a gentle invitation to explore the deeper questions of the soul. The chapel's air was thick with an ancient reverence, and I felt the weight of it settling around me. I closed my eyes, willing myself to pray, but the words tangled like fish in a net, elusive and slippery in the face of my uncertainties. Later, alone in my room, the familiar surroundings offered little comfort. I fell to my knees, feeling the cool touch of the wooden floor through the thin fabric of my trousers. The shadows crept in even here, though the pale glow from the window stretched across the floor like a gentle reminder of day. A crisis loomed, my heart heavy with unanswered questions. With hands folded tightly in an almost desperate clasp, I sought solace in the act of prayer. Lord of mercy, I whispered, my voice a mere breath in the quiet room. If you are truly there, hear my cry, I'm drowning in doubt. Show me that my prayers are more than empty echoes. I remained still, listening, a silence a thick, expectant blanket. The world outside fell away, leaving just my breathing and the faint rustle of trees beyond the window. For the first time it felt less like a ritual and more a raw, unguarded plea, a begging for an answer, for a sign that I was heard. The next evening, drawn by an inexplicable pull, I returned to the chapel. I sat, my focus drawn to the lamp's small flame. Father Michael was there as always, his silhouette serene against the gathering dusk, offering a quiet companionship that asked for nothing in return. This time I sought no words from him. Instead, I settled silently at the altar's foot, letting my breathing match the rhythm of my heart. As I watched the flame, its steady flicker whispered to my spirit, let prayer be your breathing. A thought intruded, soft as a dawn breeze. It wasn't an audible voice, but a whisper in my soul, an echo of the divine that stirred something deep within. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the gentle urging, shepherd of my soul. I prayed, the words unhurried, each syllable a step in faith. Guide me not just in sound, but in silence. Teach me to listen. An unexpected peace washed over me, gentle yet profound, as if the air itself had cleared. When I opened my eyes, the chapel seemed different, more alive, more sacred. Every shadow and beam of light a testament to the presence I had longed to feel. As if my own eyes had finally seen it, for the sanctuary it truly was. The turning prayer. I'd carried for far too long. This prayer came from the heart. Holy One, take my uncertainties, I surrender them. Fill me with courage to walk where your light leads. A warmth spread within, a gentle flame inside, mirrored by the lamp above, offering a silent promise of divine companionship. Rising, I felt lighter,
dawn quiet, when the town still slumbered beneath a veil of mist, a humble bakery nestled between silent streets began its day. The cool air whispered through the alleyways, carrying a hint of flour dust under the flickering street lamp's glow. As if the very night exhaled in contentment inside, Maria, an immigrant whose roots clung to distant soils, prepared her workspace with a ritualistic reverence. A silent liturgy of dough and yeast, alone but not lonely, accompanied by the soft hum of the refrigerator and the rhythmic ticking of the clock. Maria kneaded dough with hands that seemed to dance with grace, each twist and turn an unspoken prayer. Lord of mercy, she murmured, her words rising like incense to heaven, an offering at God's altar. This morning, however, a heavy unease settled over her heart. Like a storm cloud gathering in the distance, a new bakery had opened across the street. Its modern facade a stark contrast to her quaint shop. Ivan, the owner, had swiftly drawn away her loyal customers, and Maria felt the weight of dwindling sales press against her chest. Pausing with flour-dusted hands, she gazed out the window, where the sky began to flush with the first hues of dawn. Holy One, give me strength, she prayed, her voice barely a whisper, trembling like a leaf in a breeze. Help me walk by faith. In that hushed plea, she released her anxieties into the hands of the shepherd of her soul, trusting he would guide her through the shadowed valley.
As the dawn's first light spilled over the horizon, a golden hue filled the bakery, casting warm, gentle shadows that danced across the walls, promising new beginnings. Maria's heart felt lighter, lifted by unseen, loving hands. She remembered that her faith, like the bread she lovingly crafted, required time to rise, to develop its full strength and flavor, nurtured by patience and grace.
Outside, the city began to stir, the sounds of morning harmonizing with her rhythmic work. Her hands molded dough into loaves that were silent vows of resilience and hope. As she placed them in the oven, she embraced the new day with renewed optimism. A tug at her soul turned her thoughts toward Ivan. She recalled his often burdened look and felt a surge of compassion. Holy One, teach me compassion, she prayed, her heart opening in a way it hadn't before, bridging the divide that earlier competition had dug between them. A warmth filled her, as if God Himself whispered forgiveness into her heart, planting seeds of peace and understanding.
As the day wore on and the bakery buzzed with life, Maria felt a divine urge, a push from the Spirit urging her to extend kindness beyond her own walls. With a basket of freshly baked bread, crust still crackling from the oven's gentle kiss, she stepped into the bright morning. Each step across the street was a testament to her prayed for faith, a pilgrimage of humility and love. She found Ivan at his display, arranging pastries with the precision of an artist. The lines of the morning sun draped over him, mingling their shadows as if heaven's light wished to join their hands. I brought you some bread, Maria said softly, her heart pounding with a mix of courage and vulnerability. Ivan glanced up, surprised across his face before his features softened into a wary smile. He hesitated, then accepted the basket. Genuine gratitude softening the lines of stress on his brow. In that simple sheer gesture, Maria felt a weight lift from her spirit, replaced by an overwhelming peace, like sunlight breaking through storm-heavy clouds. They both sensed God's guidance, his gentle hand stitching them together like a lighthouse for ships once lost in the fog. A new beginning.
In the days that followed, a subtle transformation began, spreading like ripples across a still pond. Word of Maria's generous spirit and unexpected kindness spread through the community like wildfire, drawing new customers eager not just for her bread, but for the story of grace knated into every loaf. Her bakery flourished not through the cutthroat competition of commerce, but through the rich soil of community and shared grace, where stories were knated into dough, rising with the morning sun. The tension between rivals dissolved, replaced by a mutual respect and growing cooperation. Weaving a new fabric from old threads, Maria and Ivan began to exchange tips and stories, their former rivalry blossoming into a partnership that fed not just the body, but the soul. Each loaf became a prayer, a hope for brighter mornings, a testament to the power of divine love to heal and unite.
Shepherd of my soul, grant me wisdom to walk by faith and strength, to share your love. Let my heart remain open to your guidance, bringing light where there is darkness. May the bread we break together